Hello, my nasties. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another chatty process video. Today we are going to be discussing my latest little shop experiment, which is hand replication. What is that all about? All right, grab a snack, grab a beverage, have a seat. Let's talk about it, or whatever it is that you're doing in the background if you do not wish to watch the art process. Well, baby, you don't have to, but thanks for being here. So let's get into today's video. Hand-drawn replication. Girl, what is this? What are these new shenanigans that you're trying? Well, exactly what it sounds like. Hand-drawn replication. So I was sitting around one day at my desk and I was flipping through the mountain of original illustrations that I have created throughout the years for my coloring books. Every single book, I create at least 25 pieces of line art. So you can imagine at this point I have close to 20 books. I want to say 18, I could be wrong, but something like that. So as you can imagine, I have accumulated quite a stack of illustrations. Every time I complete a book, I collect all of the artwork and I put it into it's a hard shell filing system. So I have a ton of pages, they're taking up a ton of space in my closet. And I think, every time I create a book, my poor pages never see the light of day again. I mean, yes, they are in my coloring books, but I never actually take the artwork out and do something with it. Aside from filming my color and chat videos, the artwork, the actual line work just sits around bored, neglected, just woe is me. It doesn't know what to do with itself, and I don't know what to do with it either. And recently, when I was flipping through, just, being the nostalgic creature that I am, I was flipping through pages from my older books and I thought, you know what? These friggin' pinup girls from Hot Tropics would be so fun to watercolor. And I don't want to watercolor them in my books. I want to create standalone illustrations. Like, I just want to create one just to see if I like it. And of course, lo and behold, I ended up enjoying the process. So what I am doing is I'm taking the original line art from the book, the hand-drawn line art. I am then replicating it by hand. So these are not prints. They are hand replicated and then hand colored. So there are different techniques out there for replication. Some people print out the line work and then they subsequently paint on top of that, or with hand embellished prints, which I do sell in my store. I have the completed artwork completely printed out and then I hand embellish on top of that. So in addition to what's already on the print, I add embellishments. So while I do like the idea of printing out line work and then coloring on top of it, I wanted to take it one step further. I wanted it to be a little less print-like. I wanted the process to be completely hand-drawn. So even though the artwork is virtually the same as the artwork that you see in the coloring book, there are going to be little nuances, little differences, little thises and little that's with each piece. So they're all the same, but different. And what this is allowing me to do is revisit favorite illustrations without having to disrupt, destroy, or otherwise render unusable the original line art. And I love this. I love where this is taking me. Now, for the moment, I've only been experimenting with my Hot Tropics Pinup Girls. Hot Tropics is a coloring book that I released, was it a year ago? I believe it was 2 years ago. It's one of the books that I created. Well, it's the only book that I officially co-branded with my other brand, Cat Eyes and Cacti. Cat Eyes and Cacti is my mid-century modern tiki kitschy brand that is inspired by the city that I love, of course, Palm Springs, but it is inspired by all things mid-century and retro and gaudy and tacky and colorful and, everything that is me. So, long story longer, I am beginning these little experiments with my Hot Tropics Tiki Girls, and if people enjoy them and there seems to be interest in it, then by all means, yeah, girl, expand. I absolutely will. but I am beginning by creating 2 or 3 of a few select illustrations. And this is where things are going to get a little bit complicated, of course, because it's me. It's me. We have to overcomplicate everything, for better or worse. Because Hot Tropics is co-branded under my personal brand, which is my first name and my last name.com, that's how I have it. And then I have cateyesandcacti.com. I have 2 separate lives, essentially. I have my personal brand, which is all of the spooky, gothy, everything that I've been doing since I was a wee little vampire. And then we have this new brand that I created a couple of years ago, which is everything that is specifically retro-centric. And I created the book as a collaboration with my 2 selves, essentially. So we have my typical style of artwork, which is, of course, everything that I do, my pinup girls. We got a little bit of spookiness thrown in there for spice. We've got some skulls. We've got some like this one. We've got a little corset. We've got some gothiness happening there. But it is all wrapped up in a mid-century retro bow. And so I decided to release Hot Tropics under a co-brand. So you have both of my websites on the back, and then you have social media for both of those on there. All of that. You get it. You get it. It's my 2 lives coming together to create one coloring book. So this is where things get confusing. If they weren't already, they're going to get just a little bit more confusing here. What I am doing is I'm going to be selling, for instance, this girl right here. I have 2 currently available, but I want 1 more. I like 3. I like odd numbers. So I'm going to create 1 more of these. So for the pinups that I am illustrating, you saw a few of them at the beginning of the video as well. I am going to be releasing some of them on my Cat Eyes and Cacti shop and others on my main brand. So for instance, this little booty competition that you're seeing here, the cat and the girl, they're a little sassy. They're having a little competition in their selfie mirror, okay? I think it's so cute. I love this artwork. Yeah, I'm going to toot my own horn. I love this page. I think it's one of my favorite illustrations in the entire coloring book, but I digress. So in this instance, when I create the 3rd, 2 of them are going to go in one shop and 1 of them is going to go in the other shop. So if anyone is interested in purchasing one of these hand-drawn replications, please bookmark both of my Etsy shops. And while you're at it, you may as well follow both my Cat Eyes and Cacti channel and my social media. There, of course, you are not obligated to follow me everywhere that I am online if you do not wish to. Absolutely not. But if these here are piquing your interest, if these speak to you, if you love this mid-century retro tiki pinup-y artwork, then keep that in mind so that you don't lose any notifications when the artwork becomes available. So currently I have this illustration and then another one in the shop. Well, in the shops. So there will be 3 total of each design. 2 of them will be in one shop. 1 of them will be in the other shop. So if you see one that you like, the colorways aren't necessarily speaking to you, hop over to the other shop and see the other options. I kind of like this. One thing that I am constantly breaking my skull over are ways to integrate all of my interests and all of my lives. I exist on 3 planets concurrently. I have Cat Eyes and Cacti, and then I have my primary brand, and then I have another brand which has absolutely nothing to do with artwork. It is strictly fashion, so we won't talk about that one today. Well, but to be fair, I also bring that brand into all of my work as well because my work is primarily fashion-centric, right? But that's a story for another day. But I'm constantly trying to figure out ways to integrate all of my interests because I don't like to, although I exist on 3 different planets, I don't like to necessarily compartmentalize everything because I mean, we are all multifaceted individuals, and having to live one life over here and one life over here, I'm not about the Bruce Wayne Clark Kent life, okay? I'm not about that. I am who I am. I do what I do, and I'm not going to hide, and I'm not going to compartmentalize. It's just all of me. Here you go. And so this is one way of being able to do that. I am able to include artwork in both stores that is co-branded together because of Hot Tropics coloring book. I like it. I think it's a cool way to mesh my different worlds, and then enter Patreon, where as much as I love and adore Patreon, I can't help but feel as though sometimes I'm alienating people because, if people cannot afford to pay for my Patreon or if they don't want Patreon, I don't want them to feel as though they're getting less of me in a way. So I like to, for instance, have certain videos that I use Patreon exclusive artwork. I use that artwork in the video, so only my patrons have access to the line art, but the video is available for the public. See what I mean? It's a constant battle in my head on how to integrate everything that I do in a way that feels organic and just flows easily. It's a constant work in progress. All right, so let's talk about just a little bit, if you are curious about how I am going about these hand-drawn replications. So the art supplies that I use at the moment right now in this experimental phase, they are the supplies, my tried and trues, everything that I've been using for ages: watercolor paper, watercolor paints, and waterproof inking pens. I will of course have everything linked down below. They are affiliate links with Amazon, but none of these items are Amazon exclusives. I have to say this all of the time because some people out there do not like shopping on Amazon, and then you know how it is. People don't bother asking me, they don't bother watching any of my videos. They just are like, oh, we're gonna dismiss this girl because she has Amazon links. Shop wherever you'd like. I am simply providing the links and the names to the supplies for your convenience and for your reference. But for these, what I'm using are a mix of core watercolors, Doc Martens, those are shoes, girl. P.H. Martin, but they're called Dr. P.H. Martin, so I'm not all that off. Watercolors, I use a blend of Holbein and core watercolors. I use P.H. Martin watercolors, and then I use watercolor brushes and watercolor paper, plus inking pens, waterproof pigment pens. That's it. Nothing fancy. I do throw some glitter gel pen in there on a couple of these girls, but that's it. We're keeping it. It sounded as though I threw a ton of supplies out there, but in truth, it's just a handful. It's the ones that I have available that I enjoy using, and once again, they will be listed down below if you are interested. These new, I hesitate to call them experiments because I am utilizing the same supplies and I am employing the techniques that I typically use in most of my artwork, but it's the idea of replication which is an experiment for me. It is also allowing me to open up a little bit with the color palettes because what I'm trying to do is keep the pieces on the simpler side. Because if you look back at artwork from the period, from the 50s and 60s, and by extension into the 70s a little bit, a lot of the artwork that you see in children's books and on consumer goods and things of that nature, the artwork was very simple because back then the printing process, the coloring processes were a lot more complicated than they are today. So it would behoove people to keep the color palettes and the line work limited. And although I am not replicating those old school techniques, it would be fun if I could, but we're just not doing that. I am trying to keep things as simple as possible. So the lines are going to be a little bit more expressive. The colors are going to be a little bit more expressive, but you're going to see fewer details than in my other illustration work. You know, all of the scratchy lines and the gel pen and the this and the that, and we climb up to the cosmos, we pull down some stars, we crush them up and we sprinkle them everywhere. None of that. We're keeping it far more pared down than usual, but it still retains that essence of who I am and what I do as a painter, as an illustrator, as the Karla monster that I am. Get it? Cute. So that is going to bring us to the end of this video. I hope that you enjoyed this little behind the scenes peeky peek and chatty chat session about where my mind is right now and what it is that I am doing. This process is incredibly fun. It is very therapeutic. You can kind of zone out a little bit and just get to work. And I dig that. If you are looking for a way to relax, if you are looking for a way to just turn your mind off a little bit, I would recommend that you try to reproduce some of your own sketches. You may have a sketch that you love so much that you ended up destroying. Well, baby, what's stopping you from redrawing it? Redraw it and try again. It might help you. You might learn a thing or two. You'll definitely have fun. And you know, why not? Why not? Off I go. Be bad, be good. I don't give a damn which. Just make sure that you try to get your little behind here in one piece. If you are interested in checking out these pinup girls, take a look at the links down below. You will find a link to both Cat Eyes and Cacti and my primary store. Follow the Cat Eyes and Cacti channel. Follow the Cat Eyes and Cacti Instagram if you want to keep up with all of these pinup-y, Palm Springsy, retro fabulous, mid-century kitschy shenanigans. And that's going to do it for today. Let me know down below what you think of this little adventure that I'm taking. Let me know what you think of these girls. If you own Hot Tropics coloring book, let me know what you think of the book, because that tends to be one of my sleeper hits. People who purchase it adore it. But a lot of people kind of, they don't, I think it turns them off a little bit because it's not my usual spooky girl type of situation. But those who love it, and those who have yet to discover it, when you do find it, I hope you like it, because it's definitely one of my, believe it or not, one of my most beloved books. I know, I wasn't expecting it when I released it, but hey, there you go. Well, I mean, look, the girls in it are beautiful. Why wouldn't it be beloved, right? All right, I am going to zip the lip now. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.